Hello everybody, welcome back to Conor here. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastically well. And we're back here, Leeds in the pre-season friendly over in Perth, Australia, losing out to a Manchester United side 4-0. Great to see the Leeds fans over there. You know, the intensity of the game's always there. You know, 60,000 fans there in Perth to watch the game. Obviously, you know, it was common knowledge that it was about 80% Man United out there. But, you know, you expect that, you know, they're a bit of a dynasty out there. They're a dynasty globally as well, unfortunately. But they are. And that was always going to happen. You know, you're going to get Aussies who are going to come out. We've not seen them out there for 25 odd years. And yeah, I mean, they're a popular global club, aren't they? So they were out there in numbers and stuff like that. But we were out there and we were making the most noise, which was fantastic to see. You've seen Leeds fans on social media all week, you know, Leeds fans actually travelling from Leeds and everywhere in the UK out there. And it was great to see them linking up with the Aussie Leeds fans out there. I know myself, there was a hell of a lot of them out there, especially the Sydney Whites, who I used to watch and drink with. So that was great to see. The game in general, I mean, I've had a lot of vocal thoughts about Leeds' tour of Australia. I think it's amazing for the fans that are travelling over there. It's amazing for the Aussie fans. As I said, personally, you know, I was in Australia, you know, about 6 months ago for a long time, and you could see the passion for Leeds, and it's great for them guys to actually see the players live for the first time in years and years and years, and that's fantastic to see. I think my only stipulation with it is when it is and how it is going to affect the players. You know, we're not talking 2 minutes down the road here. You know, when I personally went to Australia myself, it took me a long time to recover from that jet lag. Reports, obviously, of the players being forced to sort of train after they've got off the plane just to keep the body clocks in sync. You know, I can understand that, but it also is, I mean, it's absolutely knackering for the players. Bielsa's been very vocal. He's not happy with it at all. He's kept the actual new signings and the players who need fitness work back at Leeds headquarters, if you will, and that does say a lot, especially when Bielsa's vocal about something, because he's not been that vocal about things at Leeds. He just agrees with everything that's been said and sort of gets on with it, really. But he's been vocally not happy, and I guess my point is, you know, who's the beneficiary of it? You know, is it the money side of things? Because I can understand that with the marketing team and the PR team, but the unfortunate thing for me was, you know, the game was a little bit demoralising. It was a lovely spectacle. The stadium was fantastic in Perth. You know, lovely places, Perth. The Leeds fans were excellent, and I thought that was brilliant. But I just thought that it was just tainted a little bit by, you know, the fact that you look at the scum bench and they've got about 15 players on there, and you know, a complete change around in teams. You look at the Leeds team, and you know, we have 5 kids on the bench, and it is one of those things where, is it the right thing to do? Was it the right thing to do? And it just looked, we played some really good stuff in that first half. We were really unlucky, and we'll get into the game in a second. But I think it's the wrong time. I think it's bad PR and bad marketing to send it out to Australia. Now you forget they've been in Australia. Man United, I think it's a week and a half longer than us. You know, they've got a full tour out there, and they're staying for longer as well. And their season starts further, afterwards, you know, a week afterwards. So it's one of those where I don't understand what we're doing. Why have we sent a lot of the team out there? Makes zero sense. And it does bear a little bit of a worry, you know, from Perth. They're not just staying there, guys. You know, it's not just going to be around there. They have to then go to Sydney, which is a 6-hour flight. Then they have to travel all the way back, which is a 23-hour flight. Then they have to go out to Italy, and then they've got a trip at the bottom of the country in Bristol. It's a hell of a lot of air miles. It's a lot of air miles, and it just worries me that we're expecting Leeds to go out there and you know, we want to be prepared for the first day of the season, you know, and a lot of those players today are going to be in that first team. And I just wanted to get that off my chest, because I think it's piss poor, to be honest, from Leeds. I don't understand it. We should have at least done that at the start and then moved into the fixtures that are closer. But yeah, if you're talking about the game anyway, I thought we started pretty poorly, actually. The game was, you know, obviously they've just got firepower everywhere, haven't they? The old Daniel James speed merchant that he was, but they started a very strong squad. And, you know, in that first half, you thought there's only going to be a couple who are going to be coming into that first team for them, you know, De Gea and potentially Luke Shaw. That's all the real ones that I could think are actually going to come into that first team fold. It was pretty much a starting lineup for Manchester United. You look at Leeds: Alioski, Ayling, Clark, Click, Costa, White. I don't know if I mentioned Alioski there. I might have done Alioski at the start, actually, but there was 6 or 7 players there who would potentially feature in the first starting lineup for Leeds who weren't even there. So that's a positive. You know, we've got a lot of players that are back home and are going to be featuring tonight against Tadcaster Albion. But it was one of those things where, you know, we had chances. You know, Pablo had a couple of chances. I thought he was a bit sluggish, to be honest, on that showing. You've got to base it on each and every showing. I didn't think he was amazing against York at all. Lost the ball quite heavily, and I thought today he was very, very culpable. So, you know, a couple of decent efforts, but losing the ball, you know. The thing which bothered me a little bit about Leeds is just it was our decision making, you know, and that was a big feature towards the back end of last season. It's just keeping the ball. It's playing the ball when we need it to be played. It's playing it into feet, not playing it too far ahead or playing it too far behind. It is just playing it into feet, simple passes, decision making, and that still, you can still see that needs to improve for Leeds United, for me anyway. You know, even when we found ourselves in space, sometimes it was a couple of mistakes here and there, but it was a bit sluggish. But then we got into it a lot more. Bamford should have scored. I mean, you know, you can say you're against Manchester United, a good Manchester United team. He's in once again 4 or 5 yards worth of space. He's got to score. Got to score, and that obviously changes the game a little bit. You know, Leeds' confidence goes up a little bit. I thought Harrison was brilliant once again, you know, against Wan-Bissaka in that first half. A very good, a £50 million right back. I thought he was playing really, really well. Jack Harrison taking him on, getting some brilliant crosses in. And I think, you know, there was one point where we should have been level. You know, we're 2-0 down and it should have been 2-2. But obviously they're the levels, aren't they? They're you know, chances being taken. It's a completely different level. And every time it seemed to be that, you know, Douglas and Harrison on one side, which looked really, really good. And I did think it was working a little bit. You know, I thought Phillips played really well, getting in between the channels. I thought Forshaw did okay. But, you know, the one thing which does worry me a little bit is obviously, you know, once again, it is Manchester United. You've got to contextualise it. You know, they spent 600 million on the squad. We've probably spent about 16. So that you've got to contextualise it. I think the worrying aspect for me is every time the ball was just played over the top. Ball was played over the top. And I don't know if any of you guys went to Guiseley, but I could see Guiseley doing that against Leeds United when I went down there. They were trying to hit Leeds on the counter because Leeds, they leave it where it's 1v1 and 2v2. And that against someone like Rashford or someone like, you know, Mason Greenwood, it's going to be curtains because, you know, we don't really have a fully fledged centre back there in Berardi. And essentially it's going to be game over. And it was a couple of times. You know, you saw Dan James going through, Rashford going through, Greenwood going through. And I thought, you know, Cooper I thought was brilliant. I thought he was really, really good. But it's one of those things where Cooper was able to manage Greenwood quite well. And I think that was the experience side. But you just saw Berardi, maybe it's quite harsh, but Berardi doing the similar traits, you know, not being able to pass it out from the back. I'm not going to criticise Berardi for losing out to Rashford because he's a top-class player. But it's one of those where it's the simple things with Berardi that he can, you know, a decent centre-back can change and act upon. His passing, his distribution from the back, it never met a midfielder's feet. You know, it never did. And he was putting people under pressure every time he was distributing it. Every time I saw him, he was on his arse. You know, obviously the Rashford thing, every time someone would cut inside and feint to shoot and drag it back, Greenwood did it a couple of times, James did it a couple of times, he just jumps in and dives in and he leaves himself susceptible. You know, when Rashford scored that goal, he just jumped in for no reason, just stand your ground and he's not going to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And I just felt that was a little bit of a frustrating aspect because we just left ourselves susceptible. Phillips pushed up, Forshaw pushed up, everyone pushed up, and it was Cooper and Berardi against the likes of, you know, Rashford and Greenwood, who were just rapid. And that was the only disappointing aspect because I saw it against Guiseley as well, especially with their first goal with, I think he was called Fraser, where the ball was just pumped up, and I think it was, it might have been Berardi or Ben White actually. I think it was Ben White 1v1 and the lad managed to just do him a little bit. And I think it was just one of those where it was a little bit of a frustrating aspect because that's just a pattern of play. You know, you're coming up against raw quality, of course, but the pattern of play that needs to improve. It can't just be 1v1. We can't just push the midfielders that far up because we're going to get exposed. You know, we do not, for me, have the quality at the back to be able to push the midfield and the midfield line that far up. I don't think we've got the quality for that, especially, you know, with losing Janssen and not bringing in a replacement. Obviously Ben White was left at home, you know, but if Leeds are looking to, we've sort of seen a little bit of a back three creeping in these sort of 3 games. If we are to do that, we've got to have cover, we've got to have quality at the back, we've got to have the 3 that are able to compete against teams in the Championship, you know, when they want to get us on the counter-attack. Because I think that's going to be the blueprint for Leeds United in this season. I think we're going to have most of the ball again. We're going to be the one who you know, we keep possession, we retain possession. I think we're going to hurt teams more with the likes of Helder Costa and improved Jack Harrison. But I think the big thing for Leeds is it's sort of not conceding on that counter attack, which we are very susceptible to be to in these past couple of games for me. It's friendly. You've got to contextualise it's a friendly. You know, it doesn't mean much. Leeds start a lot of players at home, but we've just got to be a little bit careful with that. We've got to be a little bit careful, in my personal opinion. And do I think we need a centre back? 100%, 100%. We need a centre back. You can't rely on a kid. A lot of Leeds fans sort of go like that to it. No, we can deal with it. We can deal with it. And it's like that. It's just block your ears and everything's fine. But you do see the gap, the gaps. For example, a mature centre half for me, you know, it could be Ben White, for example, but a mature centre half doesn't dive in as much as Berardi. You know, Berardi is the cover and he's going to be coming into the fold, let's say. Hope not, but, you know, worst case, Cooper or, you know, Cooper or White are injured. Berardi steps in. It's just the continuous diving in. It's the continuous poor passing out from the back, which you sort of see. With Berardi, it's difficult because you can see he's got good intentions there. He wears the heart on the sleeve for Leeds, but you've also got to put, you know, the fact that we're trying to get promoted out of this division ahead of that, sentiment's got to be put to the side, and we need just quality in there, you know, quality where we're going to be playing the ball out. He's going to be, for example, given an option out wide. For me, he doesn't do that enough, you know, even for the fullbacks when they need an option there. And I just think that there needs to be a little bit of an improvement there, because it wouldn't be so obvious, the 2v2s and the 1v1, if we had a decent centre-back coming up against, you know, the forwards. But I think it's just becoming a little bit evident now that when Berardi does play, he is susceptible to maybe diving in, and you know, it's then easy for a centre forward to be able to take it past him. And you saw that a lot today, and you got to take the opposition out of it. The opposition's obviously quality, and you know, that's always going to be the case, but it's just the patterns of play that we see from these players that it's repeating. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully Ben White comes in, and hopefully he's absolutely brilliant, and I'm sure he will be, and I do have full belief that he will be. You know, even watching him against Guiseley, just how he brings the ball out, he's fantastic, and I really like that. Would I like more cover? I think it's essential. I think it's essential in a 46-game season. But, you know, that game today, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand the point of it, in a sense of Leeds' fitness. You could see at the end, they were just demoralised. You know, Man United put the first team out, and they just put the second team out. They took the entire team off, put another team out in the second half. And you're dealing with players who are rapid, who are at the top level, who are worth millions of pounds, and we just keep the exact same Leeds team to go against them in the second half. I just generally worry about the fitness, that's all, and how knackered they are going to be when they turn up to Ashton Gate on the first day of the season. So I'm praying that doesn't happen. I'm praying that, you know, well, I mean, with Australia, we can't really do much, but when we get back, hopefully we just send a different squad, maybe even the under-23s. I'd be happy with going to Cagliari. Don't send any of the first teamers out there. Just rest, recuperate, and we move on. Anyway, we've got, I think it's Western Sydney Wanderers next. That'll be a good test as well. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Give me your opinions and stuff too. I didn't want this to be overridingly negative. It's just a few worries that I have, I think, but the general standard of play, I thought in that first half was really good. I thought we did really well. I think, you know, you look at Berardi, you look at Bamford, you maybe look at Forshaw. Are they all going to start? I don't think so. I think Bamford will start, but for me, there's still got to be a little bit of change in his play. You know, the little flicks which never come off, the constant offsides. It's got to improve. It really has to improve, because it's very. I always see it with Bamford as he's not the most difficult striker to play against, because the defender's just got to look forward, because Bamford isn't going to peel off. He's not going to be using his pace to get in and around them. He's not going to be, you know, ruffling them up. I just think he's a very standard player to play against, and when he does get the chances, he has to bury them. And that one today, when he was in 4 yards of space in front of Romero, was a decent save, but he's got to be burying that. Hopefully it's gonna, you know, hopefully we're gonna be going into Ashton Gate revitalised, refreshed. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It is a friendly, so try not to take it too seriously, but these are just points that have culminated from the past couple of weeks from me, because I've not really spoken to you guys about it. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram. Me and Joe are doing our own thing on Instagram with regards to streams every day, and that's going really well. That's at Conor Joe Show on Instagram. Follow all the team on all the socials as well. Make sure you do that. And yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. See you in a bit.